Have you ever wondered, why is this happening to me? Those days when rain clouds cover the sky of your soul, when pain feels unbearable, or when sudden joy breaks through like sunlight piercing the fog. Is it all just random? Or deep within your heart, do you sense that nothing in this life is without purpose? Pause for a moment and hear me say this. Nothing in your life is random. Every moment is part of a grand tapestry woven by the Creator with boundless love and wisdom far beyond our understanding. Take a moment, dear friend, and let your heart settle. Close your eyes if you can and breathe. Think back to the winding roads of your life, the moments that lifted you to the heavens and the ones that dropped you into the deepest valleys. Have you ever paused to wonder why those paths crossed your way? Why that unexpected kindness touched your soul when you least expected it? Or why that heavy burden fell upon your shoulders when you felt too weak to carry it? Maybe in the quiet corners of your mind you've asked, is this all just chance? Just a roll of the dice in a chaotic world? But let me tell you something I want you to hold close, like a lantern in the dark. Nothing in your life is random. Not a single breath, not a fleeting glance, not even the tiniest whisper of the wind that brushes your face. Every thread of your story is woven with purpose, held together by a love so vast it spans the stars, crafted by the hands of a God who sees you, knows you, and cherishes you beyond measure. The scriptures say, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. All things, not some, not just the beautiful shining moments, but all of it. The laughter that spills from your lips like a melody, the tears that carve rivers down your cheeks, the victories that make your spirit soar, and the failures that leave you crumpled on the floor. They're not scattered pieces of a broken puzzle. No, they're strokes of a divine brush painting a portrait of your life, one that only makes sense when you step back and see it through His eyes. Picture this. A master weaver sits at his loom. From where you stand, beneath the fabric, all you see is a mess. Threads crisscrossing in every direction, knots tangling in what seems like disorder. You might even think, this is chaos. There's no beauty here. But climb up to where the weaver sits, look down from his vantage point, and suddenly it takes your breath away. A tapestry of colors and patterns, intricate and breathtaking, each thread placed with intention. That's your life, my friend. What feels like confusion to you is clarity to Him. What seems like a mistake in your eyes is a deliberate design in His. I know there have been days when the world felt too heavy, days when the silence screamed louder than any voice, when you looked up at the sky and whispered, God, are you there? Do you see me in this mess? Maybe it was a loss that shattered your heart, a loved one gone too soon, a dream slipping through your fingers like sand. Or maybe it was a betrayal, a wound so deep you wondered if you'd ever trust again. In those moments, it's easy to believe it's all random, that life is just a cruel game of chance. But oh, how wrong that lie is. Because even in the shadows, He's there. Even when the storm rages so fiercely you can't hear His voice, He's holding you steady. The Bible tells us He is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. That's not a distant God tossing you into the wind to fend for yourself. That's a Father who bends low, who catches every tear, who writes every chapter of your story with a purpose you may not yet see, but one you can trust. Think back to a time, any time, when hope seemed lost. Maybe you stood at a crossroads, every door slammed shut, every light dimmed. And then, out of nowhere, a way appeared. A friend called at just the right moment, their words like balm to your wounds. A stranger smiled and offered help when you were too proud to ask. A song played on the radio, its lyrics echoing the cry of your soul, reminding you you're not alone. Was that chance? Was that luck? Or was that the gentle hand of God nudging you forward, whispering, I've got you, keep going? I remember a story of a man who lost his job, his savings, everything he'd built over years. He sat in his empty house, staring at the walls, wondering how he'd feed his family. Random, he thought, just bad luck. But then a neighbor knocked on his door with a bag of groceries. A former colleague reached out with a small opportunity. Step by step, doors opened, not to the life he'd lost, but to something new, something better. Years later, he looked back and saw it. Every closed door had led him to a purpose he'd never have found otherwise. That's not random. That's a plan unfolding, stitch by stitch, moment by moment. And it's not just the big things. The small, quiet moments matter too. The way the sun breaks through the clouds after a long rain, warming your face as if to say, "I see you." The child who runs to you with a hug, their tiny arms reminding you of innocence and love. The stranger who holds the door and smiles, a fleeting kindness that lifts your spirit. These aren't accidents, they're gifts. Little love notes from a God who delights in you, who's writing a story far grander than you can imagine. So when you feel like life is spinning out of control, when the pieces don't fit, don't despair. You're not lost in a sea of randomness. You're held in a design so perfect, so intentional, that every detail matters. Every joy builds you up. Every sorrow shapes you. Every encounter teaches you. Nothing slips through his fingers. Nothing catches him by surprise. You are seen, you are known, and you are loved, down to the very breath you're taking right now. This is the truth I want you to carry. Your life is not a string of accidents. It's a symphony conducted by a maestro who never misses a note. And as we move forward, we'll see how even the hardest parts, the pain, the tears, play their role in this beautiful song. For now, rest in this. Nothing in your life is random. Not then, not now, not ever. Let's sit together for a moment, you and I, in the quiet of this space. I want you to think about the hardest days you faced, the ones that left you breathless, the ones that carved cracks into your heart you thought would never mend. Maybe it's a memory that still stings, a loss that echoes through your days, a betrayal that turned trust to ash, or a dream that crumbled just as you reached for it. I know those moments feel like jagged edges, sharp and unforgiving, cutting into the fabric of who you are. And I know the question that lingers in the silence. Why? Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this pain? But here's a truth I want you to hear, spoken softly yet with unshakable certainty. Your pain is not random. It's not a cruel twist of fate, not a punishment, not a meaningless wound. No, even your deepest sorrows are wrapped in the tender hands of a God who loves you beyond comprehension. They are gifts, yes, gifts disguised in shadows, but holding within them a light you'll one day see. The Bible tells us, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." James 1:2-3. Pure joy in pain. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? When your world is breaking, when the tears won't stop, joy feels like a stranger. But God doesn't ask you to feel happy in the storm. He asks you to trust that the storm has a purpose. Like a refiner's fire that burns away impurities to reveal pure gold, your trials are shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for a beauty you can't yet imagine. Picture a seed buried in the earth. It's dark down there, cold and lonely. The seed doesn't know why it's been torn from the light, pressed into the soil, left to crack open. But that breaking, it's not the end, it's the beginning. From that split shell, roots dig deep, a stem rises, and one day a flower blooms, reaching for the sun. Your pain is like that seed, my friend. It feels like burial, like loss, but it's the birthplace of something new, something stronger, something alive with hope. I've seen it, you know. I've heard stories that prove this truth. There was a woman who lost her only son to illness. The grief was a tidal wave, pulling her under, drowning her in questions. Why him? Why me? What's the point of this agony? She spent nights clutching his picture, days wandering through a fog of despair. Random, she thought, just a senseless tragedy. But then slowly she began to reach out. She sat with other mothers who'd lost children, listened to their stories, held their hands through their tears. Her pain became a bridge, a way to connect, to heal. Not just herself, but others. From the ashes of her sorrow grew a garden of compassion, a purpose she'd never have found without that breaking. That's not chance. That's not luck. That's God taking what the world calls meaningless and turning it into a miracle. He does that with you too. Think of your own scars, those hidden ones you don't show the world. Maybe it was a childhood wound, words that cut deeper than any knife. Maybe it was a failure that left you doubting your worth, or a goodbye that still echoes in your soul. Whatever it is, it's not wasted. It's a chapter in your story written with intention, leading you somewhere sacred. Jesus himself showed us this. On the cross, he bore unimaginable pain. Nails through his hands, a crown of thorns, the weight of every sin. He cried out, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 27:46. Even the Son of God felt the sting of suffering. But that suffering wasn't the end. It was the doorway to redemption. His wounds brought healing. His death brought life. If God could take the darkest moment in history and weave it into the greatest victory, can't he do the same with your pain? I know it's hard to see right now. When you're in the fire, all you feel is the heat. When the waves crash, all you hear is the roar. But listen, God is there, closer than your breath. He promises he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. He's not standing far off watching you struggle. He's kneeling beside you, collecting every tear, whispering, "This hurts, I know, but it's not for nothing. I'm making something beautiful out of this." Maybe your pain has taught you empathy, softening your heart to others who hurt. Maybe it's built resilience, a quiet strength you didn't know you had. Or maybe it's still unfolding, a mystery you'll understand later when you look back and see how every tear watered the soil of your growth. Whatever it is, it's not random. It's a gift, wrapped in rough cloth, waiting for you to unwrap it with faith. So when the nights feel endless, when the weight feels too much, don't give up. Lean into him. Let him carry you through. The Bible says, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." Psalm 35. That morning is coming, my friend, not because pain vanishes, but because it transforms. It becomes the foundation of your testimony, the roots of your joy, the heartbeat of your purpose. Your pain is not a mistake. It's not a detour. It's part of the path, handcrafted by a God who turns ashes into beauty, mourning into dancing. Hold on to that. Nothing in your life, not even this, is random. And as we'll see, trusting him through it all is where the real journey begins. Come with me for a moment, dear friend, and let's stand at the edge of your life story. Look back. See the footprints you've left behind. Some are bold and sure, pressed into the earth during days of laughter and light. Others are faint, faltering, etched in the mud of struggle and doubt. There were times you ran with the wind at your back and times you crawled, hands scraping the ground, wondering if you'd ever rise again. But here's the miracle. You're still here. You're still moving. And that's not by accident, not by some twist of fate or stroke of luck. No, every step you've taken has been seen, counted, and guided by a God whose love for you is deeper than the oceans, higher than the heavens. Let this sink into your soul. Nothing in your life is random. Not the highs that lifted your spirit to the clouds, not the lows that sank you into silence. The Bible whispers a promise that's as steady as a heartbeat. The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. Psalm 37:23, NLT. Every detail. The mornings you woke with hope, the nights you fell asleep with tears, the choices you made, the chances you took, they're all part of a plan, a map drawn by a father who knows where you're going, even when you don't. But walking this path, it's not always easy, is it? Sometimes the way ahead is clear, a straight line bathed in sunlight, and your heart sings with every stride. Other times, it's a jagged trail through thorns, shrouded in mist, and you wonder if you've lost your way. Maybe you're there now, standing at a crossroads, the wind howling, the ground unsteady beneath your feet. You look around and think, how do I keep going? Where's the light I need to see? In those moments, trust feels like a leap, a risk you're not sure you're brave enough to take. Yet trust is exactly what God asks of you, not because He wants you to figure it all out, but because He already has. Think of Noah building an ark when the sky was still blue. Rain? Flood? The world laughed, but he hammered each nail, trusting a voice others couldn't hear. Or Abraham leaving everything, home, family, safety, for a land he'd never seen, all because God said, go. These weren't men with perfect vision of the future. They were men who trusted the one who held it. And you, my friend, are called to that same faith, to walk when the path is hidden, to step when the ground feels frail, knowing He's the bridge beneath you. I've seen it play out in lives like yours and mine. There was a young woman I heard of, a single mother whose world unraveled when her daughter fell ill. Doctors shook their heads, bills piled up, and hope slipped away like sand through her fingers. She sat by that hospital bed praying through clenched teeth, God, where are you? It felt random, cruel even, but she kept walking. She trusted enough to ask for help, to lean on friends, to whisper prayers in the dark. And slowly, healing came, not just for her daughter, but for her. Strangers brought meals, a church paid a bill, and she found a strength she didn't know she had. Years later, she said, I thought I was abandoned, but He was building me up step by step. That's not chance. That's a God who turns chaos into order, pain into purpose. Your story holds that same power. Remember the times you thought you'd break but didn't? The rejection that stung but led you to a better place? The sleepless night that ended with a sunrise so beautiful it stole your breath? Those weren't flukes. They were signposts, markers of a journey designed just for you. And right now, wherever you are, whether in a valley or on a peak, God is saying, keep walking, I'm with you. The Bible promises, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. You're not alone in the shadows. You're not forgotten in the storm. He's there steadying your steps, lighting your way, even when the flame is small, even when it flickers. Trust doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you won't fall because His hand catches you every time. So today I'm asking you to do this. Take the next step. If you're weary, if the load feels too heavy, lean on Him and move forward one foot then the other. If you're doubting, speak to your soul. This isn't the end, it's just a chapter. And if you're standing in joy, if the air feels sweet and the horizon bright, lift your hands and thank Him. Because even this moment isn't random, it's fuel for the road ahead. You're not wandering aimlessly. You're walking a path carved with intention, led by a God who delights in you. Trust Him, not because you see the whole picture, but because He does. Keep going, dear one. The Bible says those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah chapter 40:31. That's your promise. Your strength is coming. Your wings are unfolding. Nothing in your life, not a single moment, is random. Step into that truth today. He's holding you now and forever. Now, my dear friend, we've walked together through the layers of your life, the meaning behind every moment, the gift hidden in your pain, the trust that keeps you moving forward. But there's one more step I want us to take. One more truth I want you to hold close as we near the end of this journey. It's this: you were made for a purpose. Not a vague, distant idea, not a shadow you chase in vain, but a calling so real, so woven into your being that every heartbeat, every breath, every tear and triumph has been leading you to it. Nothing in your life is random because you are part of something far greater than yourself. The Bible tells us, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Ephesians 2:10. Handiwork, a masterpiece. That's you. Not a rough sketch, not an afterthought, but a creation shaped with care, designed with intention. Before you took your first breath, before the stars lit the sky, God saw you. He knew the sound of your laughter, the weight of your struggles, the dreams that would stir your soul. And He said, this one is mine, and I have a purpose for them. But purpose isn't always loud or obvious, is it? Sometimes it hides in the ordinary, the way you listen when someone needs to be heard, the kindness you offer when no one else does, the quiet faith you cling to when the world shakes. Other times, it bursts forth in the extraordinary, the courage to start again after loss, the strength to forgive what seems unforgivable, the love that pours out of you even when your own cup feels empty. Whether small or grand, every piece of your life fits into this purpose. Like tiles in a mosaic, each one essential to the whole. I think of Esther, a young woman who didn't seek greatness, orphaned, uprooted, placed in a palace she never asked for. She could have thought her life was a series of accidents, but Mordecai told her, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. And she listened. She stepped into her purpose, risking everything to save her people. What seemed random was divine timing. What felt like chance was destiny. You too are here for such a time as this. Your story, your struggles, your gifts, they're not wasted. They're tools in His hands, shaping you for a moment, a mission, a mark only you can leave. I've seen it unfold in real lives too. There was a man who spent years running from his past, mistakes that haunted him, shame that kept him small. He thought his life was a mess of broken pieces, random and irredeemable. But one day he shared his story with a stranger at a coffee shop, a stranger who'd been silently drowning in the same guilt. That conversation sparked a change. The man began speaking, helping others find freedom from their chains. His pain, his path, it wasn't random. It was preparation. And now he shines as a light for those still in the dark. What about you? What if the things you've endured, the lessons you've learned, the love you carry, what if they're not just for you? What if they're meant to spill over, to touch a life, to heal a wound, to spark hope in someone else's night? Your purpose isn't a finish line you race toward. It's a life you live day by day, trusting that every moment builds towards something eternal. So here's my invitation. Embrace it. Stop doubting your worth. Stop questioning your place. The Bible says you are the light of the world, Dre. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:14-16. You're not here by mistake. The quirks that make you unique, the scars that tell your story, the passions that set your heart ablaze, they're yours for a reason. God didn't craft you to blend in, to shrink back, to wander aimlessly. He made you to stand out, to rise up, to reflect His glory in a way no one else can. I know it's daunting. Purpose can feel heavy, like a mantle too big for your shoulders. Maybe you're thinking, me, what do I have to offer? I'm too broken, too tired, too small. But listen, God doesn't call the perfect. He calls the willing. Moses stuttered, David fell, Peter denied, and yet they changed the world because they said yes to their purpose. All He asks is your heart, your trust, your next step. He'll do the rest. Today, I want you to look at your life with new eyes. That trial you survived, it's your strength to share. That dream you hold, it's your fire to chase. That love you give, it's your legacy to leave. Nothing in your life is random. It's all leading you to this, a purpose that's yours alone, a light that's meant to shine. Embrace it, dear one. Step into it with courage. The Bible promises The Lord will fulfill His purpose for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. Psalm 138:8. He's not finished with you yet. Your story is still unfolding, and it's breathtakingly beautiful because it's His and it's yours, woven together with perfect purpose. Dear friend, nothing in your life is random. Every smile, every tear, every step is etched by God in the book of your life. He is the author and you are His masterpiece. Let your heart rest in that love. Let faith guide you through the darkest days. And always remember, you're never alone. For the one who made the heavens and the earth is writing your story. A story full of meaning, full of love, and never random.